She didn't have to say yes. Mary didn't have to say yes. When the angel Gabriel showed up on that day, which changed the course of human history, she could have said, "Thanks, Gabriel, but no thanks." For all we know, she wasn't the first. There could have been others before her who turned him down with that offer. That part, I know, is complete speculation. We have no idea about that. We just don't know. But one thing I think we do know is that description of her that we get in hymns and carols, that Mary, Mother, meek and mild, that can't have been the case. She can't have been like that. Full of grace, maybe. Meek and mild, I don't think so. I mean, look at the evidence. She's unmarried. She says yes to Gabriel. "Be it done unto me, be it with me according to your word." She agrees to bring to life and mother this mystery child when she isn't even married. He's born. He grows to be an early teenager. And in the temple, she's the one who's lecturing him, the Son of God. "Get yourself home. What are you doing worrying me in your bed like this?" It's not the father Joseph who was giving him this lecture. She's the one who's telling him, like, okay, enough of this. Later, she's with the man-child at the wedding feast at Cana, and she's the one who's telling him to take care of the wine shortage. You don't deal with it. And then, at the very end, all this, of course, is from Luke's Gospel, at the very end, when many have fled in fear, there she stands at the foot of the cross, not afraid, watching her own flesh and blood suffer and die. Meek and mild? No, really, I don't think so. She was a woman of great courage, of great commitment, of great love, and her son grew up, I think, reflecting the upbringing that he had. She couldn't have known what she was getting into. I think she knew it would change her life. I think she knew it was something important, but she couldn't have understood what it was really going to be. Well, that part, knowing it's going to change your life, knowing it's something important, I think that's true for all mothers. In a way, I think that it's true for all of us, that we have the same calling as Mary. I think we're all called to bring Jesus to birth in our hearts, to bring Jesus to birth into the world, and to follow him. We have our annunciations, we have our moments when we can say yes. There's a poem by a woman named Denise Levertov. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's very long. And I'm just going to read a short part. I hope you can follow it, because it's very moving to me. Denise Levertov says in her poem, Annunciation, "Aren't there annunciations of one sort or another in most lives? Aren't there annunciations of one sort or another in most lives?" She says some people follow those, some people accept those invitations, but she says more often those moments when roads of light and storm open from darkness in a man and woman or woman are turned away from in dread, in a wave of weakness, in despair and with relief. Ordinary lives continue. God does not smite them, but the gates close, the pathway vanishes. The opportunity comes, people turn away from it, thinking it's too much to ask, and the opportunity closes again. I think when I ponder this always of a woman I know named Marion Pritchard, and if we're together a while, you'll have to forgive me because I may bring her up again. I think she's a fascinating and challenging inspiration, a real witness to what moral courage is all about. When I knew her, Marion Pritchard was a housewife in Westchester County, although she was never just a housewife. She's the mother of a friend of mine. But she was born and grew up in the Netherlands, and during World War II, she was involved in the resistance there. There was a day when she saw Nazis loading Jewish children aged 2 to 8, I think they were, into a truck to take them away. And she was horrified. She didn't act at that moment, but she was active in the resistance through the war. She hid a family for 3 years. There's a day that came when she had to shoot a policeman in order to protect the family. That's a story for another day, wrestling with that question. But there's no doubt that she put herself in grave danger for the sake of others. She had that moment, that annunciation, that time when something said to her, here's your opportunity to act. And she took it wholeheartedly. I don't know what I would have done if I'd been there. I don't know how I would have risen to that challenge. But here's the thing. I think that the poet, Denise Levertov, is wrong. When she says the gates closed, the pathway vanishes, I think that in fact, we have multiple opportunities, and that some opportunities remain open. I think we have second chances to go down the right road. Maybe in the same situation, or maybe in a new situation. Marion Pritchard didn't do anything when she saw the Nazis putting the children in the truck, but then she did act. And she describes the way that other people cooperated in the work of the resistance. Some were as actively involved as she, but many were not. Some people's participation was simply that they knew what was going on, that families were being hidden, and they didn't say anything, they didn't tell on them. She talks about a farmer who never said a word to her, but clearly knew that she was hiding children because he kept delivering extra milk. I think we get those second chances and those small opportunities. I mean, when we look at our hero, Peter, we know that in a moment of crisis, he turned away and denied Jesus 3 times before the cock crowed. And yet, he came back and he followed. He spent 30 years in active ministry until finally he was martyred in Rome. I think we have those opportunities to make good, those second chances, those opportunities to answer the call. So, as we come now to the close of this Advent season, I invite you to think about what opportunities are calling you. What annunciations are you hearing? What can you do to answer that call? It's not too late, I think, to say yes and choose the road to Bethlehem. Amen.